Hello, everyone. Here's your weather hazard briefing for Sunday, July 13th. We're going to start seeing a few more thunderstorms across the area. It does get warmer, but today and tomorrow we do see some isolated thunderstorms. A more widespread chance of thunderstorms going into Tuesday. At least initially, we're going to see some gusty winds being the main risk with these thunderstorms today and tomorrow. Maybe a few more rain-producing storms going into Tuesday. We do have to worry about critical fire conditions, mainly for wind and low humidity. Throw in a few thunderstorms here and there that may exacerbate things a bit. The most likely day we'll have to deal with that will be tomorrow or Monday. Midweek is cooler but breezy, and then we start to warm up again, and we do lose the thunderstorm potential at least for a while, for later on during this upcoming week. Satellite, not much going on around the area this morning that you can see on satellite, but northwest flow is over us. We have a couple of very weak systems coming through our area, and that's what's going to help trigger the wind, the isolated dry thunderstorm activity the next couple of days. After that, we have low pressure that's over Canada. It starts to settle southward into our area. That actually brings the stronger winds later in the week. That also, by after Wednesday, pushes the moisture out towards the plains and dries us out for the most part. Maybe by the weekend we get a little more moisture back in here, but at least there's going to be a period where we may be thunderstorm free for the latter half of the week. Looking at our weather risk outlook, some minor impacts today. I don't think we'll be actually exceeding red flag conditions over the Magic Valley and the South Hills, but we'll be close. We'll be very close with that. Otherwise, some isolated thunderstorms around the area. And, of course, any thunderstorm with this being as dry as and hot as it's been, any lightning strike and any type of wind may get a decent fire going across the area. We'll just, if things line up correctly. Going into tomorrow, we do really crank up the impacts. We have moderate to major impacts over a lot of our area due to the potential of gusty winds, low humidity, throwing in a few thunderstorms across the area. That's going to be an issue for tomorrow. We back things down a bit, although thunderstorm activity becomes scattered up around Island Park, up along the Montana border, the same into portions of Limhi County on Tuesday. We lose that, except for maybe up around Island Park Wednesday and Thursday, even up around Gilmore Summit Wednesday and Thursday as well. So how are things looking for today in that forecast? If we go through the afternoon hours, you'll notice as we go into the afternoon, we'll start to see a few thunderstorms developing basically from Copper Basin north and east through Gilmore Summit, then eventually over to Island Park. We might see a thunderstorm back up towards Chalice and Salmon today, but that potential is a little bit lower. The best corridor is going to be that area from Copper Basin up through Island Park. There is the potential of seeing some gusts over 35 miles per hour and a very low chance of seeing some of these storms producing gusts of 45 miles an hour today in those areas. But you'll notice as we go into this evening overnight, that shifts off to the north and to the east. As we go through time going into tomorrow, you'll start to see that potential picking back up in the same areas. We might see a couple of storms in the afternoon down south of Twin Falls, south of Oakley, down along the Utah and Nevada border area. But you'll notice that corridor, Copper Basin, Mackey, Gilmore Summit, Monida, up to Island Park, we'll start to see those thunderstorms. And the thunderstorms tomorrow actually will be shifting across the Snake Plain towards Palisade and Driggs. So if you kind of drew an imaginary line from Copper Basin to about Palisades north of there, there is a potential for some isolated dry thunderstorms across the area. Tomorrow, the thunderstorm gusts should be higher. We may see the potential of some of these thunderstorms producing gusts over 50 miles per hour tomorrow, especially once we get out of the mountains into the lower elevations of the upper Snake Plain, the Arco Desert area, north of Idaho Falls as well during that particular time frame. So we do have quite a bit of stuff going on, and even some stuff that may be, low risk, low chance, but could be a high impact, especially when we start talking about thunderstorms, lightning, and winds and stuff like that as well. So for this afternoon, some gusts 20 to 25 miles per hour across portions of the Magic Valley, even down to the higher elevations of the South Hills and the Albion Mountains, the Arco Desert. Some of those gusts 25 to 30 miles per hour. And with the low humidity, that is putting us close to critical fire weather territory for this afternoon. If we get a little bit stronger wind, we may briefly exceed that threshold, that wind and RH threshold over portions of the Magic Valley up through Craters and the INL for this afternoon. Temperature-wise, it's still pretty hot out there. We should be seeing low to mid-90s, approaching 100 once you get into the western end of the Magic Valley, into the Treasure Valley. Humidity values in many areas outside of the central mountains, the higher elevations around 10 to 15%. You get into the higher elevations of the central mountains, about 20 to 25% there, but still pretty dry. Going into tonight, we have some pretty poor humidity recovery across the mountains south and east of the Snake Plain. Very low humidity expected overnight, so not much in the way of recovery. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s. The colder spots like Copper Basin, the Stanley Basin, will be down into the 40s tonight just simply because of all the dry air that is in place. Now, going into tomorrow, Monday, afternoon and evening, you see those gusts are higher over a wider area. 25 to 35 mile an hour gusts are certainly possible. With the low humidity, we have a better shot of exceeding critical fire weather condition thresholds on the low end there, especially over the central mountains, the Magic Valley, even parts of the Snake Plain, even into the South Hills and Albion Mountains. There is the low potential in those areas of seeing gusts over 35 miles per hour for a while tomorrow. So certainly something to think about. And that's outside of the thunderstorms. That's not necessarily where we're going to see the potential of thunderstorm wind gusts. Now, for tomorrow, temperatures are not too far off from where they are today, very similar. Humidities try to come up a little bit overall, but still in many areas 10 to 20%, maybe a little bit higher, and some of the higher peaks up in the central mountains and over towards western Wyoming. That's for tomorrow on Monday. Tuesday, we cool it off in the morning and the afternoon hours, but we do have a better chance of thunderstorms. If you kind of draw a line from like Stanley to Cayley, Sun Valley, Cary, Burley, back to the west from that, the NBM has probably got way too much. It's too excited about thunderstorms. We're not even really thinking anything west of that kind of that line there, seeing any thunderstorm activity. It increases as you go to the north and to the east, and once you get up towards Island Park, Oneida Pass, south central Montana into northern Wyoming, a pretty good shot of some thunderstorms. We also are seeing a little bit of potential of some rain. Not necessarily a lot of rain, but some rain on Tuesday afternoon and evening across those areas. Going into Tuesday night and Wednesday, we continue to back temperatures down just a little bit. Wednesday will probably be the coolest day of the week. There'll still be some thunderstorms around, especially closer to the Montana border on Wednesday. Thursday, though, we start to pick things back up, and that's that trend of it being warmer and drier. Not maybe necessarily initially as warm as we were and are now, but we'll get there eventually, maybe by the weekend. Still kind of breezy through that period as well, so we'll have to watch how things go with that in terms of weather, especially on the fire weather side. So again, we've got warmer weather. We've got thunderstorms returning. We're probably going to have a period of critical fire weather conditions, especially tomorrow, over a good chunk of our area. Have a great Sunday, and if you're heading out, be safe, everyone.